Finally back in the garage. It's almost 60 degrees today. I'm going to start working on getting this thing mated up to the CD transmission. Sitting right over there. I currently have some parts in a parts washer, like the fork and the throwout bearing holder stuff. So that's all out. Let's get that cleaned up. Got a tiny little parts washer running over there. You see it doing its job, making noise. But yeah, so the next thing to do is get this thing off the stand and start putting the clutch and flywheel and stuff on here. Get the adapter plate set up and then start mating it up. Exciting stuff. Let's go. Alright, with the intake off, I'm going to go ahead and pop all this stuff off. I really don't want to, but that adapter plate goes on here nicely, and it looks like I'm crushing my knock wires, so hopefully nothing major is going on there. Try not to lose the gaskets on these things while I'm at it. Really didn't want to pop these off either. Here we go. It's a lot of pain in the ass just to lift the engine up. Let's see if I can do this without breaking it. I'm supposed to squeeze these things, but my hands are too fat. There we go, there's one. Knock harness is out. Zip up these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bolts here. Pull up your knock sensors. Jeez, this is such a pain in the ass. 22 millimeter. Knock sensors out. These gaskets are holding pretty tight down there. There we go. And one came out, but I can just shimmy that off. Maybe I'll put a little more oil on it the next time. Have it go down. Clear. All right, we're going to start working on installing the adapter plate on the DLS engine. Included with this is your bag of hardware. And we'll pop these all out and lay them out so you can see them and what all we have. We have our adapter plate, looking beautiful, machined, golden. We have our transmission. And we also have the shifter relocator. So that'll all be coming off back there. Put a fresh throwout bearing in there, greased it up, cleaned off the throwout bearing and fork and stuff. Yep. And then we'll have to remove some of these bolts in the back of the cover plate to give a nice flush fitting for the adapter. And we'll go over that here in a moment. All right, taking a look at the supplied hardware. We have 4 of these bolts here. Shorter shoulders. This one here is the same length as these 4. It's got kind of a longer shoulder on it. These are just like a hair shorter, yep, than these others, so 2 of those. You got one long one here with a long shoulder as well. We have 2 dowels, 9 of the shorter bolts, 4 of these button tops, and I'm not sure what that one there would be called. And we got 2 of these. All right, we'll start by removing these 4 bolts here. We have our instructions that are provided. We'll go ahead and zip those out and get the button heads in. Pause, damn it. Number 5 on the Phillips heads. $18. The button heads installed. Line up the dowel bowl. And then use one of your shorter bolts to secure it. See that nice flush mating surface there. Then we'll go ahead and put in the rest of the bolts where we have threads, and down here are where you're gonna have the little button screws. Yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can get some bolts in all of these. All right, those are all snug as far as I can tell. It looks to be the only bolts that go in at the moment. So these are all threaded. These will be for the dowels. I'm not quite sure yet which version I have, so we'll find that out shortly, or before putting on the transmission. We'll line it up and then figure that out. All right, so I'm going to go with the torque spec of the bell housing to an LS on these. So 35 foot-pound. And I probably should have set this thing down first, but and then I'm going to hit these two, do the same. Don't mind the old Nissan junk here, as much as I love them. Good engines though. Let's get to the flywheel. And before that, pilot bushing bearing. Let's get that installed into the LS. There's our new bushing. So the short side will go to the inside, into the engine. And you can see those needle bearings on the inside. And this will fit flush with the edge of the crank. So let me grab one of my favorite pieces of wood. We'll set that in there, pound it in. Try to get this thing lined up, make sure everything's good and clean in here. Try to make that as even as possible. It's going, little by little. That's that dirt. Put a little piece of tape over that just to clean. There we go. It's going. It's just very tight fit. There we go. Looks good and flush. That feels like a straight edge all the way across. I don't feel really any bumps or raises. There we go. Use our grade school compass there. Cool. All right, next up we'll get this flywheel on here. Now, this is machined just for this kit. Lots of depth there. That's going to give us a good mating surface going between our LS to our CD. Let's go ahead and line that up. Get it set on there. Now there may be a dowel on yours, but there was a hole there for it just in case. And we have our ARP studs for the flywheel. We'll go ahead and get that set in there. All right, something I like to do for flywheels, if there's a little bit of tolerance there, or if it's needs pressed in a little bit, as I'm taking these things by hand. I'm just kind of squeezing them down until that pressure plate or the flywheel is pressed all the way down. We're just making sure that's pressed all the way down. And then I'll back these back out. And we'll get these prepped with Loctite and assembly lube for directions. All right, ARP instructions. We'll be down to 85 foot-pounds. And it says to lubricate with Loctite. Yep. 242. So your Loctite blue, as well as supplied grease underneath the cap of the bolt. So it should look something like that. Blue thread locker with some grease under the cap. We'll do that to all 6. Get them put in. Go ahead and get those snugged down, and then we'll start applying torque in a cross pattern. After digging deep, I found that I have a 19 millimeter 12 point. That's what you'll need for these ARP studs or ARP flywheel bolts. And since this kit has some extras, you can really get a good look here. And I must have done this before on another car because I've only got one of these. And it happens to be the right one. So we'll go ahead and get these torqued down to 85. There we go. Alright, I'll go ahead and reposition the engine so I can get the clutch and pressure plate put on here. And remember, we'll have to spray this down, get all the oils off. Yeah, it's coming together. I've got a used clutch disc with an ACT 6-puck sprung. There it is. Go ahead and slide that in. Made it up against the engine. Let's see if that actually holds its nut. This comes out pretty far. Like, this is having trouble staying seated in. We'll go ahead and get the pressure plate cut out of here, clean it off, made it up. Machine face is covered in oil from factory, keep it protected. Blast it down, clean it up. Now we'll try to line our dowels. There's some packaging remnants. There we go, 1, 2, and 3. So those all line up. Just try to push it over those dowels so it'll stay. And if you stay right there, we'll grab our ARP hardware, see what it says. All right, package instructions. These are M8, 25 foot-pound. We'll go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of thread locker on these, and then we'll go ahead and get them torqued down. I'm going to try something else a little different here. Found this at one of my local hardware supply stores. So I'm just going to give it a little dab across the edge and get some thread locker in the threads. I got 9 of these. Just get this down snug enough so the pressure plate is flat with the disc. All right, I think that has the 9 of them hand snug. I'll get the torque wrench out, 25 foot-pound. I'll get these things set. There's one. I'm going to do the back edge, so it's 1, 2, 3 in a set. So I'll do the back edges, then the middle, and then the leading edge. There it is. All right. Slam. All right. Middles. All right, the edge. I think this gets us set up for this video all right. It's getting long enough as it is, so stay tuned for the next episode where I connect the transmission to the engine and we start getting some of the other mounts and shifter items added to it. I hope you learned something this time around. Leave a comment if you have any questions or criticisms, and I'll try to address them as possible. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and come back for the next one.